Sorry, I should have said that. Hey everyone, welcome to the AI Amigos show. My name is James. I'm here with my good friend Jin Chao. And today we have a guest, Enrique. Welcome, Jin Chao and Enrique. Say hello to everyone there. Hey everyone.
Hey guys,
Welcome.
everyone.
So today we have a full pack show, don't we? So, we're going to be talking about, Enrique's got some things you want to talk about and how organizations, particularly finance teams, are using AI. And he's going to talk a little bit more about that. And I'm not going to steal your thunder there. Enrique, we'll be talking more about that. And then we're going to talk about current news. But before we get started, remember, sponsored by Tequila AI. So if anyone needs AI, this is the people to talk to in their organization. So maybe those people going, oh, Enrique, I know what he's talking about. I need AI in my organization. Tequila AI. There you go. So, Enrique, how are you? So, Enrique, you got a pretty extensive background there. So you're a finance leader at Flutter, working in Dublin. You look very Irish to me. Even your name, Enrique, is a very Irish name. So Enrique, guess believe it or not, maybe we'll let the people put in comments where they think he's from. I don't know. I'll give you guys a couple of guesses there, but originally he's from Brazil, right? But you lived a long time in Ireland, Enrique, right, since a kid and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, live here long enough to be able to complain about the weather. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're definitely on the inside then.
Yeah.
So, Enrique, tell us about you're saying there that organizations are not really using AI, and I mean coming from a financial services background myself, right?
Yeah.
I can see where valuations like you have to have AI in your organization. It's like ESG, or ESG, like you have to have that in your organization because if you don't, it's like one of those things. So
Mhm.
you could lose valuation, I would imagine. But tell us a bit about that, Enrique, if you will.
Yeah, I think on the valuation side, it's quite interesting because I don't think it has got to a point yet where companies are, that's one of the variables being looked at in terms of valuation. But for sure, I think it's certainly leading up to that, because if you think about, valuation even plays a part in, if you talk about, how the technology in the company is, in the architecture, and those things, and if that's being used as a competitive advantage, then yeah, like obviously that is something that will be very much discussed. I think though from my kind of own experience and point of view is much more on the operational side and how you use AI to support the business. Much more than could be definitely a part of the competitive advantage for sure, but it really depends on what the company does. But the thing I'm seeing is, and we were talking before as well, is that most of these finance teams aren't using AI as they should. I think the real reason is because I think genuinely, they may be using AI for certain things to help speed up their work. But I think the ones that are really doing well are redesigning the work itself around what AI can do. And I think that's where
Mm.
it's a fundamentally different mindset, right? And I think
Well,
don't think and most finance leaders aren't there yet.
well, when you say that organizations are not using AI as that should, let's just break that down a little bit more. What does that mean? Help us understand what you mean by that, because I think I know what you mean, but I just want to make sure, right? We're on the same
No,
page.
definitely. Like so, okay. So here's a hard fact, right? McKinsey's global AI survey from last year.
Yeah.
78% of organizations report using AI in at least one business function. Okay.
Okay.
But 70 to 85% of AI initiatives still fail to meet expected outcomes,
Yeah.
Mm.
with 42% of companies completely abandoning their AI initiatives in 2025, which was up from 17% from the previous year. So
Yeah.
what you're seeing is that um, it's that fundamental shift between just like if you just use it for your day-to-day stuff, using it for that, and this is probably where most people are using it, James. It's like emails,
Mhm.
helping to create, some presentations, maybe do a little bit of data analysis. Claude has been great more recently that it can even help build financial models in Excel. You get the Excel plugin
Yeah.
for Claude,
And
which is,
PowerPoint as well. Yeah.
and PowerPoint, which I've actually used both, and they're actually pretty good. It gets you pretty far ahead in terms of what you're doing. But I think more like on the actual architecture side and how you can orchestrate and build in agents that actually do much more than just helping a single individual out. I'll give you an example. What if this is what I'm currently doing at the company I work for, right? We built, we basically got all the revenue data, all from our source systems, and we've put it into one single location, one single repository. We use Databricks. We have integrated all of revenue data from multiple companies within our umbrella, within the group, and we've created a semantic model. We've modeled all of that revenue data in a way where you can actually start introducing natural language querying.
Okay.
So that is completely different. So you can get your finance leaders to actually go in and open up Databricks Genie, whatever, or you even put a front end to it, much easier to use, or you can hook it up to an in-house chatbot that may be built in Slack or something.
Mhm.
We haven't got to that part yet, but we've built a semantic model, we've tested it. And that's a real fundamental example of that's how you actually introduce AI in the company, and not just literally single people using it here and there.
And what about hallucinations in that respect? Like when you look at that, because that's one thing. Like in Jinchao, you can talk about as well. Like we've had some experience of bringing that in, kind of like what you're talking about. Like you talk to the data and you ask the AI, what about this and what about that? And then one of the big things you find is like, so I wanted to be as verbose as possible and say, okay, give me the sources where in the text you have that, so that I could go, and verify that what you're asserting is actually true. And a lot of stuff I find is very a lot of hallucinations there. Like it'll make stuff up.
I think if you use any sort of general purpose AI chatbot, you probably will get that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The real different differentiator is when you actually use a tool that's using SQL to query the data first and see if it's available, and actually comes back to you with insights based on data analysis done in SQL on top of your data. It can't hallucinate. I
I've
mean,
done that. I've done that and did it, but and Jinchao, you did as well. But Jinchao came up with a good solution that worked really well. Was working with graph databases, and that was pretty.
Yeah.
He was giving it the connections, if you will, right? Jinchao was like you did, and that
Yeah,
was like
the graph knowledge base, Neo4j is probably that's the one we use. But it's a good point of a hallucination. You got to try it. Sometimes I'll give you an example of where it's not a bad hallucination, but it's trying to make up some stuff. Uh,
yeah,
when we query the database, it come back the data size, and then because the sheer size of the data get truncated, let's say truncated to 10 rows, but you ask the AI to return 20 rows, so the
yeah,
other 2 rows is trying to make it up, and
yeah.
I said it's not right data, and then you ask him again, I said, where did you get it? I said, no, it's there. And then you look into the logs, it's actually producing that. It's very detailed technical issue. So
yeah,
there's a lot of components you needed to think. Different models, a different context window could have totally different problem as well.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Now,
And the thing about McKinsey is it's funny as well. You're talking about the report, 78%. I think most of the business, probably the HR, use the most at the moment.
yeah. Well, using
Okay.
like G Suite and things like that, right? Because it's all
Yeah.
built in. You hit the little star
exactly.
and like
Workspace.
summarize this, and away you go. And it's like, okay, well, that's AI, but like, yeah.
Yeah. even lately hiring process, I see a lot of CVs are AI, and just basically to changed it specifically for this role. And then like a lot of the job description now in LinkedIn, it has the things as, oh, we're gonna use AI tools or something like that. So if it's a one business unit you're talking about there, it could be HR use the half of it, other than other business unit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've never experienced. I was going to say, in fairness, I've never used a Databricks product, so that could be
Yeah.
a completely different infrastructure there. That could be different from what.
It could be, if you think about like how Snowflake is as well, and these other kind of data lake houses and stuff. But you know what? I think it's not really that, because at least in the company I work with, like Genie is built on top of Claude. Like we use Claude for it, so it's not going to be a specific LLM which is better than any other for specific tasks. I think it's what it is. I think, James, based on what Jin Chao was saying there from his example as well, I think you need to curate your model a lot more for it
Yeah.
to stop hallucination. That's the key thing. And in the finance analytics engineering team that I work in, we have very, very capable people who've actually been building these models years ago, before AI even was a thing. And the purpose that they
mainstream, yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
You and me and Chad, we were all three of us here were studying AI before it was.
Before it was, yeah, exactly, yeah. You start to get into advanced analytics and stuff. Yeah, it's all kind of subsets of AI. But yeah, before it was mainstream, or before ChatGPT or any of these things, we were already building. I wasn't even there, but they were already building these models that we could automate data. Like we work with the accounting teams, so we could actually automate journal postings into our Oracle ERP, all through data. Right, that's just 100% automation, hands off. All the accountants had to do was review the information, ensure the journals were correct, that they were balancing, they went into the right place. But it's always about working with the experts on both sides, the experts in finance and accounting and the experts on the data engineering side. And you talk to those guys, and you get your model to be perfectly built around what finance considers revenue. Are you applying all the business rules? Is all the logic very much in line with finance, with revenue policy, or whatever it is in finance you're working on? And once you have that and you create that model, it becomes a gold layer model, where it's a semantic layer that the AI can plug into, and it'll speak and understand the data just how you would. That's the real differentiator. I don't think there's any other secret, but that's really the hard part, to get that done.
Well, the next thing you wanted to talk about there was the AI tools. Now you're talking about this AI tools, and I like what you're talking about there, because it's always domain knowledge experts, right? Because again, AI can produce something, but is it actually useful? Can it be, useful in the organization and have the outcomes you're looking for? But you were talking about the tools that you use day to day. What are those tools that you use day to day, Henrique?
Look, for me personally, like we try to build enterprise-wide stuff. Like that's an example right there that we talked about. But for me personally, I use as many as I can, as much as I can. So like I use Gemini, I use Claude, I use ChatGPT. Now, unfortunately, we don't have Claude like that. We don't have Claude apps built into our laptop. We don't have that. It hasn't been rolled out into my organization. There's a lot more like that.
Yeah.
But using it as a chat interface for sure. And we have our own in-house one, which is actually built on top of Claude. So our data architects have actually, along with the platform teams, they've built an in-house tool that we use as an interface, same as all the others. So I use that all the time for brainstorming. Helps me a lot with presentations. I do a lot of presentations trying to explain all this AI stuff to finance leadership. You need to be able to present, and you need to, that speeds up a lot of work, and just kind of brainstorming ideas and difficult conversations. How do you make it easier?
That's pretty good. Like your company is ahead of the time. So like I think we touched a little bit early on before the show as well. Like a lot of company doesn't adapt it or doesn't have enough departments to adapt it. One of the most important is they don't have the special team, and if they wanted to build, they have to go to their in-house engineering, and then from the top down, the CEO or whatever the company probably have goals, and it's hard to pivot current project to, because those systems right now from all the LinkedIn hiring process now, it's pivot from our three of us called old AI engineers or AI guys, right? But now they're apply side as well, how to apply those in a system, and those knowledge can easily pick up with background of tech, with background of development or tech guys and all that, but still requires a good bit time to create one of those systems in-house. It takes 2 or 3 months or even more.
It does.
You know, so for a lot of company, probably it's hard to pivot for that, or the CEO really have to put the foot down. Says we have.
It has to be a very center kind of center stage part of the strategy, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? I question it, Jinchao. Is it worth it? Is it worth building and focusing all your resources on creating an in-house tool when ChatGPT, Anthropic, and OpenAI just really every week they come out with an update to their own interface where it's so much better to use? It's so clean, it's so faster, it's beautiful. It has all, you can hook it up to all these external apps and everything. So is it really worth it? So going back to what you said, really depends on company strategy. Really does.
Yeah, and I think from an infrastructure point of view, like I went through this with my manager. This is a really interesting point, right? And the one side is the board wanted to see result, but a lot of things like it takes time to get result, to get buy-in, right? And then also I think initially we're looking into the OpenAI before the data and IP. When you're using it, you have to really go into that. Their contract, their privacy kind of documentation, and OpenAI was the most blurry and pixelated one. You don't know what's going on there, and other, like you said, Claude is probably better. Once they're committed to that, I think give a clear guidelines of what's going on. Like AWS, we're not using your data. They clearly line it out there. Okay, people are moving in and making products and using their stuff. So
let me ask you something. Both.
I don't know if that's allowed.
No.
Well, you're just gonna have to sit there and listen. You can answer it if you want, or if you can. What you said there, Jinchao, about the part of the security part of the contracts being a bit blurry.
Yeah,
these guys have all rolled out their SOC 2 compliance, right? Which means they're as safe as any other tool that we roll out enterprise-wide. So Anthropic has it, ChatGPT, OpenAI also have it.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between you sharing your data as an enterprise under a SOC 2 license and agreement within the contract? How is that any different from me storing all my data inside OneDrive, inside of an AWS hosting, inside of anything like that? What is the difference?
From my perspective, is once you're in ISO and SOC 2, right? This is external. This is another external vendor. So we intend to follow one. If we all in with Google, everything in Google, you just have less risks and less documentation go through the whole process. That's exactly the reason. And then what we worry about is not the it's not really like the traditional security, because it's your IP, it's your data, if your whole company using it. And for our company, it's not like it's people's knowledge currently more than other people can actually
use the data, right? It's people's knowledge.
It's using the data to train and
training the models. Yeah, are you training the models, and then that whatever you train that model on later on, is that going to be used for, let's say, your competitors or someone else out there that that model has been improved
Well,
by
no,
your.
because they don't allow training on your data, right? When you
Mhm.
as an enterprise, when an enterprise contract, for example, and
So
even as a single user, paid
yeah,
user, you can turn it off. You know this change, right?
Yeah.
there's no really clear yes or no. I think a lot of time, and that's just my perspective. And going up the chain, maybe other people have like other perspective. I wouldn't even able to know. We're out the door. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah,
but it seems like I think company does getting a board buy-in, and then the whole company trying to shift and hiring a whole lot of AI engineering and all that, trying to catch up. And there's a still company reluctant as well. And then it's big commitment to the cost side as well, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, Enrique, we've talked about now, like, expectations of or where companies really are. Talk about tools that you've used. Now, what do you see down the road? What's, let's say 3, 5 years down the road. And I know this is a hard one, maybe, but I know this is one that you yourself were saying you wanted to talk about because, I
Yeah.
mean, I think you look at what's happened today. If you were like going, let's go back in time to 2023 or 2024, would we expect to be where we are today? And then, so that's what I'm saying. If you're going down 5 years, I mean, we're talking 2031 now. Jeez, it seems like
Yeah,
time's flying. So where would
yeah.
we be in 2031, 2030, 2031,
Be retired.
With bots making money for us, yeah, hopefully. But so some hard evidence, right?
Mhm.
If you look at numbers, right, at adoption, for example, in FP&A, which is a really lovely part of finance that I enjoy, that's financial planning and analysis. It's much more away from the accounting and general ledger and that kind of thing, and that's more compliance stuff, right? FP&A, it's much more about a strategic finance. It's forward looking. It's how
Yeah.
finance actually sits at the table, makes strategic decisions along with the CEO, with the executives, and drives the business forward, right? To me, that's the most exciting part about finance, has always been. And adoption in FP&A surged from 6% in 24 to 41%
Uh-huh.
in usage in 2025, right? So that's a lot of acceleration, first of all. So um, by 2030, agentic AI will also make at least 15% of daily decisions autonomously, and 70% of finance functions will use AI for real-time decision making. That's what Gartner says.
Yeah.
Well, whoever believes Gardner, you know, you
What
know,
credibility do they have? But yeah, so I think what does disappear, right? If you're thinking about FP&A specifically, 2/3 of finance professionals say AI will save up to 200 hours of FP&A work annually. So
okay,
automation can improve forecasting accuracy, which is a big part of FP&A, by 40%, up to 40%, and free as much as 60% of analyst time. So the traditional analyst role, which is now, I think it's like 80% of an FP&A analyst role, is pulling data, reconciling, creating financial models. It's a lot of just kind of data gathering
Uh,
and data cleansing and consolidating information.
back to
That's
the fundamentals. That's like fundamental stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like 80% of their work is that, where it shouldn't be, and that's a real problem, right? It should not be, because remember I said FP&A is strategic, it's forward looking, and you've got these guys spending 80% of their time just
mm,
on kind of manual labor, manual finance labor, just doing Excel spreadsheets, right?
yeah.
So that traditional role is going to change so much. It's just going to be redirected, because once they free up that 80% of their time, they can now do the forward-looking stuff, the strategic stuff, the real value add, where I think finance is actually really valuable in an organization.
Well, you were saying there's a 40% from 2024 to 2025. So is
Yeah,
that overall in the industry, or is that 40% more than the year before?
it's FP&A. It's FP&A in general. So that's from an EY paper. It's an FP&A trends research paper that was out last year.
Yeah. But does it clarify that point? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so if we had 100 people in 2024 and then we have 141 people in 2025. Well, that's a 41% increase from the year before. Or is it 41% of the entire industry?
So it's adoption. Yeah, so it's adoption in the entire kind of
the entire industry. Okay, so all industry. That's a significant exponential jump. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In 1 year, it's crazy. It's mind blowing.
So I mean, there's really finance or money that's being directed and pushed into AI adoption, and we're going to see more and more, because that's where I see a lot of times where it kind of falls down in regards to, like, we were talking about this before, that it's use cases, like, how am I going to use this? How am I going to implement? And there's a lot of talk about how you can do it, and we can use AI for this, and we can use AI for that, and we've even seen organizations that have made the sales, sorry, the employees, they let them go, and then they had to hire them back, because like we're not there yet,
No.
and so that's where for me is seeing more of that implementation to get to those business outcomes, because at the end of the day, that's what organizations need, right? What are my business outcomes? Because I need this done, and whether you use AI or you don't, you want to use AI to adopt it to make it more to be more efficient.
Yeah, like most of the problems that small, medium-sized businesses need at the moment are actually probably not AI. It's not so AI is probably just kind of a bazooka to kill an ant kind of thing, right?
Well, that's what Jin Chao. You're trying to take Jin Chao saying it's a bazooka to shoot a mosquito. No, sorry, not a bazooka, a cannon. That's what he said. Using a cannon to shoot a mosquito.
Well, that's it. Like most I have some people that I have some people close to me that work in AI consulting for small and medium-sized businesses, and most of the things they go into rooms and conversations with business leaders is like, oh, can we get AI to do this? Like, mate, you don't need AI for that. That's like, you simplify your workflow. Use some simple automation tools. Sometimes you don't even need stuff that you have like out of the box Microsoft Enterprise license with like Power Automate, or these very
Fabric that they have.
That's really interesting. Like a lot of those traditional small startups and medium or small companies, the reason I wanted to do, like, I think that they wanted to do everything AI is like the boss get on to ChatGPT and try something. Whoa, this is cool, and they don't need to pay a consultant to actually work through the whole project and getting the software they needed. That's traditionally like, I don't know, a couple grand or even more, right? To get the guy to go in. So now it's like, oh, couple tokens, 1 cent, 2 cents. Yeah, why not using this? Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. So yeah.
Well, Henrique, that was very insightful. Thank you very much. We're now going to transition to the next part of our show, and we're talking about current events. So talking about AI adoption, Jin Chao's got some interesting stuff that's going on in China. At the last hackathon, Jin Chao. So let us know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I was shocked. Like the Red Note is a big app in China, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, kind of blogging, and then you can check in videos, kind of like X, basically. And then they had their first hackathon, and then 60% of the people candidates, it's born over after 2000. And then there's a special prize won by a team. Basically, the average age of that team is at 13 and a half. And they were pulling the data, they were doing their own model and tweak it and all that. This hackathon was 48 hours. They actually made an app, a doctor note app or something like that, using AI. So 13 and a half. My daughter is 14. So
why don't we get her in right into the hackathon?
That's just how young those people are now, and they have fresh ideas. They don't have a lot of what do you call it, cloudy mind. Going through all that sort of stuff.
Constraints. They haven't been told that you can do this.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever possibility comes into their mind. Well, why don't we try this? Well, that's very interesting, Jin Chao. I mean, because we talked about this before the show as well in regards to like adoption of new technologies. Like, obviously I grew up at a time when there was no internet and there was no cell phones, and now, like, I think the children today, I don't think you got two young kids, and Chow you talked about as well. Like, I don't think they can imagine a world without, let's say, an iPad or internet, or YouTube, where those weren't available. So now I'm thinking like the kids that are growing up now, like you're saying, that are young, there's going to be a world that they're not going to be able to understand. How did you guys work without AI?
Yeah.
That to me is mind-boggling. Like,
They'll be thinking it must have been so hard. You had to write code.
yeah,
What? Yeah,
we
yeah,
went we went to work on sitting on dinosaurs. They took us to work, yeah. So yeah,
And then that got me thinking as well. It's probably a lot more of those young entrepreneurs very soon now, right? 14, 15 have idea making money, but like, what does that lead to our education system? Normally, those things are you happen in the university, right? You have a higher education on the specific field you study, and then you think, oh, I can make something out of university. Where does that lead to us as well? And I also, if those guys are trained that way, didn't have the experiences from an infrastructure point of view, like how to set up those systems and all that, what is the future going to be like for them? And
yeah. It's a concerning part, really, isn't it? Like, especially on the educational side, because education institutions, like, in general, they are already late to the game as it is. They're already behind. It's already outdated. The
yeah,
education system.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I think a
exactly.
lot of people would agree with that. A lot of people would agree that. All the parents I speak to would agrees to. So when you now throw in AI in the mix and how quickly these things are advancing, like, where does that leave the educational system? How do they even respond? How do you even respond to speed
how
at
do you
this
scale it out? Yeah,
Mm.
speed and scale. Yeah, I mean it's definitely something. Maybe AI could do
Yeah,
that.
that's why I'm retired after half a year. I'll be having a boat on the Grafton Strait. Say change, please.
You're gonna be a busker, yeah? You're gonna
I'll be fighting my turf. This is my area.
That's very interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw in other news there. There's, I mean, obviously, Claude has been releasing a lot of stuff, including their own code.
Yeah,
But one of there's Opus 4, not it's Opus, it's 4.7. I don't know what it's called. It's supposed to be a smaller version of Mythos
yeah,
come out, and now the big rumor is, like, this was the last couple of days, is that the pro version is no
uh,
longer be included. Cloud code is no longer going to be included, and there were a lot of
yeah,
people saying that they saw it and they didn't see it. So they're doing a lot of different changes, and I know they're trying to go public. So there's some valuation issues and usage issues. So I think, I know that they got a lot of good publicity on their stance with the Pentagon.
mhm.
But I think that's only going to go so far. I don't think that's not a forever thing. What do you guys think?
Uh, the cloud, I think it's good to use the cloud code. I've been using it for a while now. I have to say, well, since the anti-gravity sent me on a holiday, I abandoned that totally.
You've been on a
So
long holiday, Jin Chao.
yeah, the cloud was good and the cloud code was good, especially this is a different, right? In Cursor, if you wanted to using any other provider, you have to go into their pro version. You pay 20, and then you can hook in other stuff, other provider. Anti-gravity, they don't allow you to hook in any other one, right? So Claude, you can hook your Chinese models, because they're giving you the API packages other than token package. So what I have is paying 20 quid for 4,500 requests. You're talking about those context window can be huge requests in every 4 hours. So that's why I'm choosing Cloud at the moment. Any other plugin or open source one doesn't work as good as Cloud. So they definitely have an advantage here in the field at the moment. And then those co-work thing, I think you use a lot of token. So
Yeah.
that's probably why, you know. And we've seen that happen, right? In our own, in my company, I can see the spike of AWS token usage.
By the way, he's not talking about me, just so anyone's
No.
wondering. We're not going to name and shame.
No.
But I mean, I downloaded. I mean, we talked before, didn't you, I think a couple of weeks ago about Gemma 4, and I downloaded Edge Gallery on my phone. And you probably can't see that there, but I downloaded it, and I was able to then. So you see there it has like AI chat and agent skills. So you can. The only thing that I have is just like try it, and then you can go in there and you can talk to it. And I've been testing it. It works pretty good. The only thing is it doesn't keep like track of my conversation. So until I had to get a database. So later on, if I want to go back, if I had a conversation yesterday, you know, like how you have on, you know, any other AI tool you have on the left where you can go back to the previous chat. So I'm going to try the one locally as well, and then maybe look at something like NoCodeDB or something like that to, if I like it, or I don't know, just trying it out. And the last AI announcement was, Henrique and I were talking about this, is the what's it, GPT-2 on images, or which one is it, that one? Henrique, remind me again.
Image 2, yeah.
So they come out. I don't know. I know GPT Image 2, yeah. So I know that, Jinshao, you're a big fan of Nano Banana. Apparently, OpenAI is going after them. I don't know, but I mean,
I like X more. It's more fun, but they tied it up now.
there was some regulatory issues and ethical issues, but yeah.
Yeah, but apparently Image 2 has beaten Nano Banana in Nano Banana 2 in pretty much everything. So overall, text to image, 3D imaging, modeling, art, cartoon, anime, fantasy, photorealistic, portraits, everything, text rendering, multi-image edit. So there's a really nice, you guys can look this up, arena.ai. They have a really nice graph where it shows how and it's so much further ahead than Nano Banana, at least in terms of these tests. We'll see how it goes the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, Jinshao, I'm going to say something. I was talking to Henrique earlier today. He made a shocking statement to me to a certain extent, and I think you're going to agree with this. He says he sees OpenAI or ChatGPT going to come out on top.
Wow.
On top of
again, we were talking. I was talking about how everybody seems to love Claude at the moment, and they're beloved now.
They're the darling right now.
They absolutely are, right? And then people are just like really hitting OpenAI and ChatGPT, and like, they take every opportunity to talk bad about it and just kind of play it down.
The hashtag no GPT, yeah, that's what I'm going out there.
But I think these people seem to forget, ever since this started, it's just been a roller coaster. It's been like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude
it's
now
like
as well into the mix.
Up here, and then they're now up and they're down.
Exactly. So I would not be surprised. I was saying to James, I would not be surprised to see OpenAI back on top again. And even long term, staying on top, where that's harder to say, because obviously what time scale are we talking? But I definitely think people just seem to, they just seem to forget that it's always been this kind of roller coaster. So it's not good to bet all your chips in one single chatbot now, in one single company. It definitely isn't.
Henrique, that's an inflammatory statement, man.
It's totally possible because they're stopping their video generation, right? So that kind of helped them with the cash flow. They don't burn as much now. Maybe they can focus on that. Yeah. And then just us talking about different model. Like if you go on the street, people are just ChatGPT. They still don't know.
Well, a lot of them, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, a lot of the limitations from Anthropic are coming out now as well. Let me ask you this. How often do you hit your usage limits on ChatGPT versus how often you do it on Claude? Tell me.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all tightening down.
But the other thing as well, I noticed today, I had a document, a Word document, docx file, and I put this into Gemini, and I said, this file here, analyze what the content. and it says, "Oh, I can't read that. Put that into a PDF or an MD." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Well,
You can't do that yourself?"
I'm gonna shout out to someone now. This is funny. We're talking about tokens, right? I'm gonna shout out to my manager Gordon. He posted a video which I found is really interesting. They even created a caveman language now to help you save tokens in the context window. It's like, give me this, do this, and I understand.
Yeah, that makes sense, Inshallah. Like if you think about it, because it's caveman. You said that it was 70. I mean, it's like 2/3 of saving the token. So instead of like giving this whole reason why the code's good, it just says code good.
Also, I'm not sure. Like we talk about way back about this idea about saving tokens, right? We translate English to Chinese, and then Chinese to do that because specific language has advantage on the token sizes and with the meaning for output. So in hindsight, like Chinese is saved about 30% of token just by talking Chinese. So any language is like a picture, like Korean may be the same, So that's very interesting, and that might be help everyone to learn Chinese.
I'm gonna start speaking Mandarin now, to talk to AI. Maybe in the next couple of years, decades, when China becomes the world superpower, not the US anymore. Ooh, James.
Ooh, what is that? Okay, I won't be alive anyway, so who cares?
We just build a layer on top of it, English to Chinese first, and then send it to your AI. We created another plugin.
See, a very simple solution there, Henrique. You didn't have to go so far.
You need guys like these. That's why they're on top.
All right, with that, guys, we're going to leave it. A very great show. We actually normally go about 20 minutes. We've gone double our time, so I appreciate you sticking by with us. And again, thank you very much, Henrique, for joining us. Great conversation today. And remember, we are sponsored by Tequila AI. So if you need any AI that you didn't tell you were pointing the wrong way, you got it. That was
I know. I got too excited.
You recovered. You got yeah.
Too excited.
Yeah, just do like this.
Just in case.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.
All right, guys.
All right.